Here we have a problem on finding derivative. So there is a function that is y equals to x square over e to the x power, and we have to find dy over dx. That is, we have to find the derivative of the given function with respect to x. Okay, here when I consider the given function y equals to x square over e to the x power, so here both numerator and denominator contains variable. So whenever I want to find the derivative of a function which contains variable in both numerator and denominator, I have to use quotient rule. So what is quotient rule? Okay, let's consider the two variables u and v which are in division. I want to find derivative of this function. So please remember, both u and v are variables. Okay, so I want to find derivative of this function u over v. So what is actually we have to use quotient rule. What is a quotient rule? So we have to take the square of the denominator. That is here we have v in denominator. So we have to square the denominator, that is v square. The same v should be taken at the top. And now we have to get the derivative of u, that is v times u prime. Now we have to take negative. Now we have to keep u as it is and find the derivative of this v, that is v prime. So this is actually quotient rule. We use quotient rule when I want to find derivative of a function which contains variable in both numerator and denominator. Okay, so I'm going to use the quotient rule in our problem. So now when I find derivative of y with respect to x, it will be dy over dx. And here, according to the quotient rule, whatever stuff you have in denominator, that has to be squared over here. So here we have e to the x power in denominator, that e to the x power has to be squared. And the same denominator should be taken as it is in numerator. That is, this e to the x power should be taken as it is. And now I have to get the derivative of this x square, negative. Now I have to keep the numerator x square as it is. I have to get the derivative of e to the x power. Okay, I just applied the quotient rule for this function to get derivative. Okay, now e to the x power. So the derivative of x square with respect to x is just 2x, negative x square, and the derivative of e to the x power is just e to the x power over e to the x power the whole square. Okay, now so in numerator, what can be factored from these two terms? So we can factor x times e to the x power, because the greatest common divisor for these two terms is x times e to the x power. So we can factor e to the x power times x. Okay, so if I factor e to the x power and x, so I have just 2 left in the first term, negative. So if I factor x from x square, I have x left, and e to the x power is factored over, and this e to the x whole square can be as e to the x power times e to the x. So e to the x power and e to the x power will cancel out. I get x times 2 negative x over e to the x power. So this is the derivative of the given function with respect to x.